United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is roll call of members. Would you do the roll call, please, Jason?
Sarah Sarda.
Here.
Terry Crandall. Here. Kathy Greenaway.
Here.
Franny Kiefer.
Here.
Jill Sternquist.
Here.
All are present. We do have a quorum. Next item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please, Jason.
Sternquist.
Yes.
Kiefer.
Yes.
Crandall.
Yes.
Greenaway.
Yes.
Sarda.
Yes. Next item is approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the February 9th, 2021 regular school board meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please, Jason.
Kiefer.
Yes.
Sternquist.
Yes.
Greenaway.
Yes.
Crandall.
Yes.
Sarda.
Yes. Item number 4, conflict of interest. Now is the time if any board member has a indirect or direct conflict. It is now the time to disclose it. Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 5, consent agenda. This is an action item. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as listed.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please, Jason.
Sternquist.
Yes.
Greenaway.
Yes.
Kiefer.
Yes.
Crandall.
Yes.
Sarda.
Yes. Item number 6, good news and student achievement. Mrs. Valnes will speak first.
All right. I had a couple things to share. Last year, we adopted new curriculum for foreign language in the high school, middle school, as well as art resources. So I wanted to give you an update on how those are going in our schools. So on the screen, the first slide is from the foreign language teachers. And this is a visual example of an activity that Mrs. Brandt did in her classroom. And one of the reasons that we really liked these resources and adopted them last year is because of all the examples, authentic text, videos, as well as the explicit grammar and vocabulary portion of the curriculum. So our teachers are really utilizing the online pieces, which is new, and we've had a lot of success with that, and our students can really see those authentic examples modeled as they're learning Spanish. Next, we adopted art last year, and these are some examples from our elementary. The resources that we adopted were called Deep Space Sparkle, and this is an online piece that we download lessons each month. And we have a library of art lessons for all grade level teachers. Right now we have about 45 different units. This month, I just downloaded for them Art for the Caribbean. So it's getting us prepared for spring and the nice weather. And you can see lots of great examples of these are hanging up in our hallways, in our classrooms, our schools. And I just wanted to showcase to you some of the comments from the teachers and students. Number 1, I heard repetitively how much the teachers and the students just love this new curriculum. It offers them so many samples, examples, models, and the students really love to see what they can create when they complete their art project. So just look at these couple slides. And it is really awesome to walk through the schools and see these in the hallways. And then on the next slide, even though we didn't adopt any new resources for middle school, high school, I got an update for them to see how art has been going in their classrooms this year. And on the left side are lots of different samples from the middle school with Mrs. Volz. And she said that she really has enjoyed the schedule change and working with the students this year with some new projects and some adaptions to old projects. She also has access to our Deep Space Sparkle lessons. They do go through 7th grade. And so she is able to review those. And then on the right side is a picture of a student sample that sent in their art project for the high school. And she stated that she has really liked using and incorporating technology so that our students that are remote learning can also turn in their artwork for the teacher too. And then lastly, I wanted to give everybody an update that our app has a new look. It's the same content, just the style has changed a little bit, so you might notice the little widget on your phone if you have downloaded our YSD School app. The little widget has changed. It's now just a picture of Bucky and Gazelle. And then when you open it, you'll see a different home screen. So you'll see a screen that looks like this, and you can toggle your menus along the bottom now. So same great app, just different content. And right now we have about 3,000 users. So if you don't have our app downloaded, I would encourage you to do that. You can find lots of great content on there, from the cafeteria menus to our events to our school calendar, our news, and of course our live feed, which showcases all of our great student achievement. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Mr. Moores will be talking to us about activities.
Good evening. I just told Mr. D, I said I got a text message from my youngest son who Mr. D and I played some golf with yesterday afternoon, and he said, "Dad, it's 70 degrees outside. At 4 o'clock when school's out, can you come home? We can hurry up and get a couple holes of golf in." I said, "Buddy, I got to do a school board report tonight." He said, "Oh, I guess I'll go do a couple by myself." So anyway, it's good news that the weather is so nice out. That's the point of that little conversation. Well, I'd like to bring it to everybody's attention that obviously we all realize that we are now in our 8th month of school and our 8th month of activities, and knock on wood to this point, we're all still in school, and we've been able to provide our kids with the opportunities that they wanted with our activities this year, so that's obviously great news. A little bit on the fine arts side, our all-state band is going to take place on March 27th in Mitchell. We had 2 students selected to be in that from Yankton High School, sophomore Damian Magnuson and senior Jonathan Wenish. Our All-State Orchestra, we had 1 student selected for that. That will take place on April 19th in Sioux Falls, and that's Damian Magnuson again, who's a sophomore. This next little part has good news and bad news in it, so I'll take it how we need to here. The Activities Association's Healthcare Advisory Board did decide to cancel the All-State Choir event this year, and their rationale for that was putting over 1,000 kids in the same facility from all the different communities across the state was not a prudent thing to do at this point in time yet. So unfortunately, that event was canceled. But I do want to recognize those kids from Yankton High School who were selected to be a part of that. And Mrs. Larson is going to recognize those kids, especially at her May concert, and they're going to perform a song together that night. So those kids are junior Sarah Strom, junior Izzy Wentz, sophomore Sydney Sirk, junior Anna Sarda, senior Brooke Anderson, sophomore Olivia Hunhoff, senior Leila Schumacher, senior Sarah Carr, junior Carter Dahl, junior Gage Becker, junior Bradley Clark, junior Corrigan Jonkey, junior Sam Van Gerpen, junior Zach Buskell, senior Ryan Trail, and sophomore Carson Heinemeyer. So congratulations to those 16. Unfortunately, they won't get to go to the actual event itself, but they'll still be recognized for being all-state choir members this year. On the athletic side of things, we made it through our winter sports seasons at the high school and middle school level. Our gymnastics team finished 8th at the state tournament in Watertown back in mid-February. Junior Allison Johnson finished 3rd in the vault and was 9th in the all-around competition, and she was also named to the all-tournament squad. Our wrestling team finished things up here at the end of February. The Bucks finished 23rd as a team. Senior Tucker Bame was our lone male place winner. He finished 4th at 130 pounds, and he was also named to the ESD All-Conference team this year. And then on the girls' side of things, if you happen to be at the basketball game on Saturday night, it was the first year that the girls have had a state tournament of their own to compete in, and Yankton sophomore Nevaeh Leonard won a state title at 131 pounds, so we recognized her Saturday at the basketball game at halftime. We also recognized the Yankton High School Club bowling team at halftime of the basketball game on Saturday night. They were state champions again, and that's twice in 3 years, so that's great for those guys. So if you want to go see if you can really bowl, you better take on some of our high school bowlers because they're pretty good at it. And girls basketball season came to an end 2 weeks ago now. Unfortunately, they didn't qualify for the SODAC 16 this year, but they got in all their regular scheduled games. And then the boys basketball team qualified for the state tournament this weekend by beating Douglas, and that'll be here, not this coming weekend, but the following weekend out in Rapid City. The guys are currently 18-3 in the number 2 seed, and we'll play Mitchell at 5 p.m. on the 18th. And very last but not least, Matthew was named to the ESD All-Conference team for the 5th consecutive year, which is pretty cool for him. And he was also the only male in South Dakota to be nominated as a McDonald's All-American for basketball, so congratulations to him on that as well. So that's where we're at with activities right now. Any questions for me? All right, thanks.
Ryan, didn't we have a state debate champ too? Or
We
champs?
actually had 2 of them.
Yeah,
Is it Carter and
Lauren.
Yep. So congratulations to those 2 too. Sorry I forgot about that. You're right.
Okay, next, Mr. Campbell and Dr. Jonke will be talking about the Patriot Award, or at least Mr. Campbell.
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to give an update on the Freedom Award. As an M-Day soldier and someone that served overseas twice for South Dakota Army National Guard, it was very important for me to obtain employment in a district that supports the men and women of the armed forces. Yankton School District and the individuals within it have shown me and other service members tremendous support. Because of this, I eagerly nominated Yankton School District for the 2021 Secretary of Defense Employer Support Freedom Award, commonly referred to as the Freedom Award. I want to thank everyone for their contributions as well as we progressed into the selection process. The Freedom Award is the highest recognition presented to the Department of Defense to employers who provide the most outstanding support for the National Guard and Reserve members. Yankton School District has been identified once again as one of the 140 semifinalists. The semifinalists were selected from 3,382 submissions by service members, and they will be narrowed down to 30 finalists by the end of March. So that's just an update currently on the Freedom Award that they are processing through. The other award, the Patriot Award, is presented by a service member to their direct supervisor. I was grateful for the opportunity to be able to nominate Dr. Jennifer Jonke for the following reasons. First and foremost, a way to say thank you for the mentorship during this unprecedented year that no academic course could have prepared me for. And second, because of her strong support of the South Dakota Army National Guard and her understanding of my obligation to the Guards, which has allowed me to remain an effective non-commissioned officer with the 153rd Engineer Battalion while still fulfilling my administrative duties. With that, I'd like to present Dr. Jonke the Patriot Award.
Thank you. I did not know this was about this. In fact, this morning I said to Mr. Campbell, I said, that's all you. You take care of it. And he said, well, you've got to be there. I said, I know, for driver's ed. So this was, thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you and congratulations. Item number 7, we'll be doing School Finance 101, and Jason Beets will be giving us an overview of the facilities condition assessment firm selection process.
Okay, thank you. Maybe not so much in line with finance, but it is certainly something very timely right now with, kind of falls under my general area. So as you know, we have in our strategic plan set out one of our strategic goals, a facilities condition assessment, and that is that we're in that timeline now. So I've been working with Dr. Kindle and the administration to put together a plan on how we're going to complete that process. And so the timeline is such that we have put out an RFP document, basically picking out firms that we felt might be qualified in the kind of the three-state region here, and sent out our proposal, or our request for proposal documents, and also checked with some of our partners at the School Administrators South Dakota and Associated School Boards. So we came up with a response list that was due on Friday of 11 firms that have responded and will be on site this Friday to do facilities walkthroughs with our administrators at the elementary schools. So there's going to be we put together a schedule for the day, and we're going to start at 1 o'clock at the middle school with a quick introduction and little overview for the activities in the afternoon, and then we'll have 4 distinct tours led by each building principal at the elementary schools, and just run them through 30-minute increments with a 15-minute allotment for travel time, and then they'll have a chance to come together at the end and answer questions. So from that, we have a response deadline of March 23rd that we've asked for them to, if they choose to move forward and put forth a proposal, then we will receive those proposals and disseminate them to our Building and Grounds Committee members and go through an initial screening process. And then from there, the committee can decide how best to move forward based on what we see, and we'll have some sort of a scoring process similar to what we did with the comprehensive study we did in 2016. So I would envision the process to look very similar to that, and then we will ultimately have a decision to make and probably set up, I'm assuming we would set up a special school board meeting potentially for sometime in April, and invite firms in that, you know, can make a final presentation to the entire school board. And then from there, the entire school board could deliberate and select a firm with whom we want to work with. So the process is off the ground, and we'll be moving through it here in the next several weeks. And I guess more information to come, but that's where we're at this point with the process, and hopefully we've got good interest. And so just a quick representation of where they're coming from. 2 firms from Sioux City, 3 from Omaha, and 6 from Sioux Falls. So we'll have a total of 25 people, and we've set it up to where we can make small groups and try to be social distanced and still get everybody the information that they need to have to make a presentation or a proposal to us. So with that, unless anyone has any questions, there'll be more to come in the coming weeks.
Does any board member have any questions for Jason? Okay. Thank you. Moving on to item number 8, early release.
So we are here to discuss whether or not the board would like to continue the early Friday releases that we started, I believe, was it back in, I think it was in October, and about 3 weeks ago, Sarah Sarda and I and Franny Kiefer, along with our building administrators, met with several school personnel from each of the 6 buildings, and we had a really good discussion about the need to move forward with these Fridays, early releases, the rest of the school year. And I think it was pretty evident in our discussions with them that that is something that they would like to continue to do. It's something that is needed. Our staff continues to need that time to work with the kids. We've got a lot of kids yet that are quarantining. We have kids that are doing, 7 or 10 days out. We have new kids coming in, and some of those require time, a couple of weeks at home before we let them start. We've got some kids that are still doing online learning. I would say the majority of those students are at the high school, followed by the middle school, and of course fewer students at the elementary schools. But I'm going to turn it over to Sarah and Franny to add any other comments that they would like to.
I felt it was, after listening to the teachers, and you did have a representation from every building, and so we got a wide swath, and it was pretty clear, very clear consensus that they would appreciate it being extended. And I think a lot of it is not just that, I mean, things are looking really positive in the future for COVID and where we're at, although under 18, it still hasn't been approved. But we still do have a significant amount of numbers, especially in our high school, of people online. And even in the younger classrooms, you know, the teachers told us about the amount of time that they're still spending prior to school with students there, between classes, cleaning and preparing, and that was still quite a bit of work for them. And it just seemed like it was the best thing to do is, you know, my recommendation is just stay the current course that we have, allow us to work out the semester, see how this goes. Hopefully it'll turn out positive, but we don't know if there'll be another spike or anything like that. That's just, it's not foreseen at this point. Franny, do you have any comments?
No, nothing to add.
So the school board has in front of them a recommendation which would continue the early Friday releases through the fourth quarter of the current school year, which would also mean that we would adopt the revised calendar that we put together as well. So with that, we'll let the school board make that decision.
Okay, this is an action item, so I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we extend the early Friday release through the fourth quarter of the 2020-2021 school year and adopt a revised calendar reflecting the changes for the 2020-2021 school year.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please, Jason.
Kiefer,
Yes.
Sternquist,
Yes.
Crandall,
Yes.
Greenaway,
Yes.
Sarda.
Yes. Okay, moving on to item number 9, driver's education. Now you can speak, Dr. Jones.
This is what I anticipated speaking about, so thank you again. Thank you to Mr. Campbell. Again, that was very unexpected, so thank you very much. So 1 year ago at the March 2020 school board meeting, the school board approved Driven School of Driving to begin offering driver's ed in the Yankton School District. And that is led by J.J. Franken, who is actually a teacher in Sioux Center, Iowa, who had approached Dr. Kindle about bringing the program to Yankton because he had met with somebody in the state of South Dakota who had said, there's a hole in Yankton, driver's ed is not being offered through at their school district. So the school board approved that 1 year ago. Last summer, they educated approximately 65 students in driver's ed. And with that, JJ also ended up hiring Lexi Zimmerman to also assist with teaching driver's ed. Lexi is a teacher at the Yankton Middle School, and she helped with he did the coursework last summer, and she helped with the driving portion of it. Then in the fall, they opened up a fall session where they educated another 25 students, and actually Mrs. Zimmerman took that class and did all of the education and the driving. And now we have opened up registration for this summer, and I should add, anyone who is 13 and a half years can sign up for driver's ed or older, and they can sign up for driver's ed and take the course. And at this point, they currently have 50 students, right around 50 students registered for this summer. Last summer, they had to do all the courses online through Zoom due to COVID. They have a plan in place for that going forward if COVID regulations do not allow them to meet in person, which was the same approach they had last year, or some sort of hybrid model in order to get some students in the class and some online to make numbers smaller, but they have a plan in place for that. So registration is still open while they see how many students they get registered, but the numbers have been really great, and the feedback we have gotten has been that it has been a great program. Any questions?
Is there a cap?
So yes and no. When we went into it last year, a year ago, they were hoping for 25 students. They ended up with 65. JJ gave me a number saying 60 to 65 is about what they can handle. However, knowing that if they have a lot more sign up, they can always open up a fall session as well, or another summer session to cover those students.
How about the driving portion? That's not virtual, is it?
That is not virtual, no. No Mario Kart or anything like that. So what they did, that's a great question. What they did was it was limited to 2 students in the car at a time, and parents had to sign a waiver saying that they knew that their child was with another student. Of course, they were always masked at all times. And they put the student driver was in the driver's seat, the other student was diagonal from them in the back of the car. And then, of course, the instructor, whether that was Lexi or JJ. And they actually brought in a couple of other driving instructors throughout the summer to get through the number of students. Then they, of course, were in the front seat as well.
Dr. Junkie, how long has that been open for the enrollment?
The enrollment went out about, let me think, we're in March here. It was the end of January, beginning of February that the enrollment went out. So it's been open for about a month now.
And how did they determine that they were going to need an extra fall session last year? If they had 65, I mean, did you stop at 65 and there were more, and that's why it kicked off into doing the fall session?
After the summer session went, they actually got a lot of comments and questions about when is your next session, will you be offering it in the fall, etc. So they decided to open it up to see what they would get, and then were able to hold a class in the fall.
And he was comfortable with only having 25 versus the 60 that was earlier?
He actually thought that was a perfect number for the fall with school going on and driving hours with it getting darker earlier, thought it was great.
So did they just hold it on Saturdays then, since school was in session, or?
Nope, they actually held it before school, so they held it in the early mornings, and then the driving portion was actually after school and on Saturdays.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 10, curriculum. Mrs. Valnes will speak again.
All right, I am here to share with you the work that our Early Childhood Committee has been doing this school year. So this last year we started our first Early Childhood Curriculum Review Committee, and we developed our Early Childhood Curriculum Guide. And this year we reviewed textbook resources for our Preschool 3, our Preschool 4, and our Junior K classrooms. Previously to having our own separate committee, these teachers worked within our elementary curriculum committees. And so this has been a huge benefit for our early childhood program in that we can pull away from the K-5 groups and really focus on the developmental needs of our early childhood program. So with that, go back one slide. All right, this is our group right here of all of the teachers, parents, school board members, and administrators that were on the committee. And so I just want to thank them again for their hard work. Some of them are sitting in the crowd today. The curriculum committees are so successful because of our teachers and our parents and school board members, administrators that work on the committee with me. Last year, we developed our curriculum guide and we wrote this philosophy statement. So since it was the very first one at Yankton School District, we really went back to this over and over as we reviewed resources throughout this school year. And the green words are the top 3 words that describe our new curriculum resources that I'm presenting to you tonight. With our curriculum guide, we also stayed grounded in the 5 domains of the early learning guidelines put out by the state. And we really evaluated all of our resources directly to these 5, paying special close attention to social emotional development, as well as literacy and language. And these are the resources that I would like to present to you as recommendation from the Curriculum Committee for adoption. And so I will present them to you tonight to share a little bit about each one of them, and then they'll be put on review for the public for the next 30 days. So for preschool, one of our challenges, yet not a bad challenge, but one of our challenges is that we have preschool 3, we have preschool 4, and we have junior K. So all of those fall under our curriculum resources, and we want to make sure we're meeting the needs of our students developmentally and academically and individually at each of those levels. So that was a large topic of our discussions of how do we not repeat, but repeat for purpose and intentionally meet all of those learning needs of those levels. And we want to make sure that our resources are developmentally appropriate yet still following our guidelines. So for preschool, we are looking at adapting the Little Minds at Work preschool curriculum. And what the teachers and the committee love about this is it has a alphabet curriculum, it has a math component, a literacy component, as well as a communication, kind of like a morning meeting or a structured circle time within the curriculum. Also, we are looking at utilizing the South Dakota Public Broadcasting early learning materials. They're online, they're free, and this is put together by the Early Learning Initiative in South Dakota. And what we love about these resources is that it contains so many videos that are aligned to each of the domains and resources for our teachers to use. And then thirdly, for preschool, we've been utilizing the Learning Without Tears, the handwriting component, and we want to continue that and also make sure we're scaffolding our learning with that so it's not just repeated in preschool 3, preschool 4, and junior K, but to have a very good structure in place that meets those students' needs and they grow, and yet we're still using a vertically aligned curriculum. And then for junior K, we are going to still, again, use the South Dakota Public Broadcasting site. It's just a plethora of resources on that site. Like I said before, the teachers just love the videos on there. They're of familiar characters and also target those 5 domains for our teachers to use with resources. The main curriculum is called Get Set for School. It's from the Learning Without Tears, so it aligns with our preschool recommendation as well. And the teachers love that. You can see a picture of it up there in the top right corner. Our teachers love that it has that literacy component, that math component, and it's still grounded in that handwriting piece that we want to start in preschool. And then as an additional piece, we are looking to adapt a program called Launchpad from Really Great Reading. And this program focuses on phonemic awareness and building phonemic awareness, so being able to segment the words, the sounds and words that we make. And that is an early indicator for successful reading. All right, so these would be the recommendations from the early learning or the early childhood curriculum committee for the school board to adapt for the 2021-2022 school year. Currently, they will be available for the public to review for the next 30 days, and then I will share with you again at the April board meeting for formal action on our recommendation. Typically, we have samples available at the admin building, but these samples are all online available. And so I can either get somebody the link if they're interested, they can reach out to me, or all of the information is available on the agenda for the school board. And then if you have any questions, and these are some comments from our teachers and committee members throughout our process. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Item number 11, course catalog. Mr. Duracek will be presenting the course catalog.
Good evening. Before you tonight, we have the YMS Course Catalog that we would be recommending for adoption for the 2021 or 21-22 school year. This this course catalog is a guide for our students and the things that we put in place the last few years with some of our exploratory and classes where students have some choice. At the middle school level, really a lot of our students, they have the majority of their day is requirements with our 4 cores and so forth. But we have a couple periods out of the day where we want to give them some flexibility, let them make sure that they can have some choices to pick some different classes and so forth. So with this course catalog, this is a guide for where our students can go and where our parents can go to look at the individual courses that are planned out. Our plan is that we are going to be showing this to students and parents this week, and we'll have students start to register here as the fourth quarter approaches and get those classes going. We're excited for this, to put some of these things back into place, as we had this ready to go and ready to implement last year, but then we had to change with a lot of different scheduling things. So something that we're looking forward to, and I know Dr. Olson has worked really hard on this as well, and things that we're looking forward to re-implement. So with that, I take any questions before you approve.
Do any board members have questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
This is an action item, so I entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the 2021-22 Yankton Middle School course catalog as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please, Jason.
Sternquist,
Yes.
Kiefer,
Yes.
Greenaway,
Yes.
Crandall,
Yes.
Sarda.
Yes. Okay, well, not our final. Our next is executive session. Going into executive session.
Make a motion to move to executive session for the codified law as listed.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Jason.
Sternquist,
Yes.
Yes.
Greenaway,
Yes.
Crandall, Sarda.
Yes. Okay. We will go into, we expect no action after this.